Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope everything is good and great and wonderful. I made a boo-boo when I was playing D&D and I used dry erase markers on my ancient crystal cast battle map. This thing is at least 20 years old. I had this when I lived in Hawaii, and I left Hawaii in 2001, so it's been 20 years. And it's basically been in a tube in my basement. And I forgot that you're not supposed to use dry erase markers. And I did. And the first couple of times they wiped off fine. I used like some Clorox wipes and it came right off and it wasn't a big deal. But then as the night went on, for some reason, I don't know, it's messed up now. So today I've tried various household cleaning chemicals like Murphy's Oil Soap and Lysol concentrate and Clorox wipes, and nothing seems to quite cut it. I tried 70% alcohol, did nothing. I read online that 99% stuff works, so I have denatured alcohol. I'm going to give that a shot. And if this doesn't work, if this does work, oh, this is working. All right, this is working fine. All right, I was going to say, if this doesn't work, then my next plan is pressure washer. I was seriously going to take this outside and put it on my car and I have a, I think I showed it to you guys when I got it. I have a low pressure washer, like a 1700 psi that I use. I used it to clean my porch and stuff because the larger, higher pressure washers will really damage the wood. And I wanted that one because I can use it on my porch, but I can also wash my bike with it and it won't hurt anything. I don't have to worry about it, doing anything to my motorcycle, because that would be like injuring one of my children. But okay, so 100% alcohol works just fine. It's coming off very cleanly. This is kind of this battle mat. Like I said, this is from the late 90s. I think this is kind of when I don't know. I'm sure there were solutions before this, but from what I remember, this was kind of like a new thing. These battle mats, because 3rd edition D&D kind of relied kind of heavily on you having minis, and there was lots of cool minis coming out for Wizards from Wizards for D&D, and so this became kind of a necessary tool. And I fell in love with it as a player because I had a DM that was really good, and we would take breaks between encounters and he would redraw the map with tables and stuff on it. And I always super appreciated that. I've played with people who are miniature gamers, and they will go out of their way to make sets, and you put your minis in there, and really brings the whole thing to life. But when playing role-playing games, I always preferred, I think D&D's tagline was always theater of the mind. And the idea was that it was all left up to your imagination. They would put some pictures of some creatures in the book so you have an idea of what you're facing, but it was supposed to be something that you just played in your head. You didn't have visual aid. But as I mentioned yesterday, I always loved visual aids. I always loved making props. I loved making maps and coins and tokens and handouts for players. It just always felt good. And like yesterday, I think I mentioned it yesterday, but I didn't talk about playing with kids. One of the things I kind of settled on early was if there's a reward, they both need to get something. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they both get something that's equivalent, but they need to get, I gave them things. So yesterday's session, when Keely's character, the thief, pickpocketed a guy, she found a map that had some important information on it. It had a little bit of extra information that they didn't know, and they kind of have used that map to help put. I used that map. It's not part of the adventure. I made the map to kind of give them a hint because this is their first time playing D&D, and I wanted to kind of, help them along without telling them what to do. And so when she found the map, I decided to give Roland, the magic user, the wizard, I gave her a cantrip that she doesn't start the game with. So she's an elf. I gave her light. Like, you don't need this because you can see in the dark, but I'll give you a light cantrip because she doesn't start the game with light. And so that way each player got, like Keely's got the map, she can figure something out. Bean has a new spell she can use if she wants, and it makes them both feel rewarded, which is important. especially when you're, you know, when it's parent with both kids and that's it, like, you know, this, it's just me and them. I can't play favors. Like, I can't say, all right, you do something with mom and I'll take care of this or whatever. There has to be a little bit of a concession as a single dad, you know. All right, so that did okay. It's still got some staining that's kind of down in this. I think I was trying to mention it earlier. This mat is kind of, I don't know if you can hear that. It's kind of rough. It's not like a shiny, smooth mat. It's like it is like a fabric. It's like a woven material that has a plastic coating on it. So some of that is down in there, but all the lines are pretty much gone. There's a little bit of blue that I might try to work on with maybe a toothbrush or something. I've also heard people say that if you accidentally write on these with dry erase, you can use olive oil, and the oil will help lift the ink out. I'm not willing to try that. I don't want to put oil on it because that might make it. That might do something. So just to clarify, you're supposed to use wet erase markers on this, or overhead projector markers that don't wipe off without water. And I forgot that, and I used a dry erase. So if I put oil on here and I use a water-based marker on top of that, I have a feeling that it would be a bad solution. So I mean, I could put oil on it and then clean it like I am with alcohol to get the oil off, if the oil would actually lift things out of here. But I'm satisfied. It's fine. It's slightly stained, but it's not stained in any way that looks. It wouldn't be confusing. Let's put it that way. If you were playing the game and I drew something on here, you wouldn't look at it and go, well, I don't know what's that thing down there. Like, well, that's nothing. That's just a stain. So I'm okay with that. I'm not going to pressure wash it. No need. Disaster avoided. I have ordered the correct markers. They'll be here, I think, tomorrow. Oh, and the other thing was dice. I had a bunch of dice, but I didn't really have an equivalent amount of dice. Like, I had a couple of complete sets, but they weren't colored sets. They were just, I could make 2 or 3 complete sets of dice that are all just random. You know, I didn't have a full set of one color except the one that came with the box set. So I ordered 6 sets of dice that are actual sets to let the girls choose from, because they were kind of like, I want my own dice, you know. So we'll figure that out. But it's been fun. It's been a fun week. I'm excited for them to come back next week and play with me. I really enjoyed the experience that we had, and I'm looking forward to making some new props and kind of guiding them through the next part of this adventure. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing and being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I will see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is bowdlerize. It is a verb meaning to remove obscenity, violence, and other inappropriate content from a novel, play, or story so as to make it appropriate for a younger reader. Hollywood bowdlerized his script, so instead of being R-rated, that the film was rated PG-13. Bowdlerized. B-O-W-D-L-E-R-I-Z-E.